Don, Joe wants to do an Edison tier list.
Edison? As in a tier list of the great inventions of one of the founding fathers of America, Thomas Edison? The light bulb is clearly S tier, and I will have no argument about it.
No, the Edison format of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which Jeff Jones won in 2010.
Stop living in the past, Joe. Edison format is outdated, and if there is any card game tier list we should do, it's Magic the Gathering.
Actually, Trump, Edison is the fastest growing Yu-Gi-Oh! Format. It's balanced, there are multiple decks that can be played, and overall very skill intensive.
You would call a format run by brain control and trap dust shoot skill intensive.
Hey guys, can we put aside our differences for the sake of this tier list? Let's keep it to 10 different decks.
Fine, but I won't like it.
First up, we have Quick Draw Dandy Warrior.
S tier. It won the real Shonen Jump Championship.
Joe, that's true, but modern Edison format and 2010 Edison format are two different metas. Both players and decks have gotten better since then.
If you woke up from your nap, Sleepy Joe, you would see it hasn't won a large-scale event in years.
He's got a point, Joe, with its crippling weakness to Blackwings because of their ability to pierce, lack of boss monsters outside of Titanial, which you don't want to draw, and Drill Warrior, which is easily countered. We can't give it S. Let's settle on C.
C is more credit than it deserves, but if it means we can move on, I'll take it.
You two both lack nostalgia. Fine, C it is.
Next up, we have Blackwings and Vayu Turbo. This is an easy S tier.
I never understand why your kind of people love chicken so much.
Your kind of people?
Whoa, Trump, let's keep this civil. Barack has a point. Blackwings have consistently topped almost every event, and they have outs to almost everything.
Well, your so-called best deck is easily beat by one happy shining ball.
That's not true because Blackwings side into Deck Devastation virus, which absolutely ruins Consecrated Light. Plus, Icarus Attack clears up most problematic cards. Only a man with a small Johnson would say Blackwings lose to one happy shining ball. Check the word with 10-foot if you don't believe me.
Unpopular opinion, pure Blackwings are better than Vayu Turbo.
Over the course of your presidency, you have said some dumb things, but that takes the cake by far.
He may be onto something, Don. Anyway, let's just give both decks S tier and move on. Now, this is a deck that makes everybody smile, Gladiator Beasts.
I hope that was sarcasm, Barack, because absolutely no one likes Gladiator Beasts.
I do.
Shut up, Joe. Your opinions are invalid.
Gladiator Beasts are a meta, anti-meta deck. They have a good matchup against any deck that utilizes the graveyard, such as Frogs, Zombies, and Lightsworn. Sean McCabe proved how viable the deck can be at the PS5 tournament that took place in February 2023.
Barack is right. Draw bad against Glads and the game is over before it begins. Also, when Glad Beast gets the ball rolling, it's hard to stop them.
You have a greater chance of getting reelected than a Glad Beast player has to get the ball rolling. B tier, and that's final.
I know you're not talking about rolling, you cream puff. You remind me of Augustus Gloop from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Joe, as you said earlier, let's be civil. Light and Christia Sworn, this might be controversial.
If there is one deck you don't want to sleep on, it's Lightsworn.
You would know all about sleeping, wouldn't you, Joe? Plus, with the way you mill, Joe, you don't even have to be good at the game to win.
Although both Lightsworns and Christia Sworns are casino decks, they require a bit more skill to pilot than people often give them credit for. Especially games 2 and 3 when they're up against light mirrors and skill drains.
Christia Sworns, I can admit, take skill, but Lightsworns are another story.
Then let's give the two decks different tiers, Christia Sworns S and Lightsworns A.
I love it.
You love everything that clown says, Joe.
Next up, we have Fairies. This deck has been performing well.
Two problems, Barack. One, Fairies don't use Valhalla, and two, well, it's only won one major event by Carpath at Deck Devastators 3.
Even though that may be true, Don, it's one of the best control decks of the format, and it's near impossible to out a Christia back behind an Honester Herald.
I second that, Joe. With the multitude of hand traps, recruiters, and being one of the few decks in the current meta that can utilize Return from a Different Dimension, Fairies are never at a disadvantage.
You two can go play with Peter Pan and your fairies at Neverland. Fairies are a gimmick deck and deserve no better than C tier. The fairy player instantly loses if the opponent resolves Deck Devastation virus against them.
Joe, I think Don can't see the light. It's not Sun Knee in his room. I'll leave this deck's tier in your hands.
Thank you, Barack. Let's give it A.
Looks like we're tiering Frogs next. What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
Did someone say Frogger? I love that game.
No, Sleepy Joe. Your dementia keeps you obsessed about the past. It's Frogs. This deck is without a doubt S tier. And if you two give it anything less, I will leave this call now.
A.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Trump. Frogs, both the junk and hero versions, are very powerful. With the addition of those two extenders, now Frogs don't have to rely solely on Monarchs to make plays and win the game.
I accidentally kept the stream open, and I'm glad I did. Frogs use Miracle Fusions better than hero decks. It is truly one of the best decks of the format. Frazier and Stango showed this when they came in third place at the first 3v3 Edison event, running the exact same list.
All right, then S tier it is.
Guys, let's play Frogger after this.
No, Michelle and I have a date, so let's finish this quick.
And I have a date with my daughter. I mean, a fine young lady who is my wife.
Edison format sure has a lot of turbo decks.
Like what?
Value Turbo, Diamond Dude Turbo, and now Dragon Turbo.
Diamond Dude Turbo is not real. If you want to win, there is only one turbo deck of the format, and that is Vayu Turbo. Dragon Turbo's best showing is a second place finish at RBET3 by Hydro Pump.
Are we playing Pokemon now? I love Charizard.
No, Joe. Also, Charizard can't learn Hydro Pump. Anyway, Dragon Turbo is a very powerful deck, but has a difficult time dealing with monsters that has an attack over 3K or that cannot be destroyed by battle.
Not to mention the deck is highly capable of bricking on itself and also loses against monsters that stop special summoning like Fossil Dyna and Vanity's Fiend unless it pulls into Lightning Vortex.
While all that may be true, Dragons are still a top deck with games usually only lasting a few turns.
The best I can give it is B tier. Sorry, Joe.
Good call, Barack. Now here we have a deck played by the proud American duelist Bandit Keith himself.
I thought that was Beast Mode. I don't believe Bandit Keith played Diva, but I get your point.
Zombies are scary. They are one of Edison format's OTK decks, and they have access to a lot of powerful cards such as Revive King Hades and Book of Life.
The only issue with zombies is they require at least 2 cards to pull off many of their plays.
If you two are proud Americans, you will place zombies in S tier where it belongs.
You may think this is Cap Donnie, but they're A tier to me.
Obama, show the good American people your birth certificate.
I'm sorry, Don. When compared to other S-tier decks, zombies are not as strong at topping out of a bad spot. And as Barack said, they need 2 cards to make their most powerful plays. As president, I use my executive authority to put zombies in A tier.
Just you wait until I become president again. 2024 will be when America becomes great again.
I'm not a singer, but I love that song that goes, burn, baby, burn, burn, baby, burn.
I am STD free. I did not pay that woman. Anyone who believes her is a liar and con artist as well, and I will sue you for defamation of character.
Relax, Don. Barack is talking about chain burn.
Okay, let's just tier this deck.
It takes a special kind of person to use chain burn. The kind of people who don't have friends or family and who enjoy watching the world burn.
Sounds like Trump has been burned before.
Well, chain burn is a suicide deck. It's not consistent enough to win or top any event, and there is little interaction when playing against the deck. If the burn player opens well, the game will just be over.
I think we can all agree chain burn in D tier.
Wasn't there a frog burn deck that recently topped by Ragnarok?
We don't talk about that, just like we don't talk about Bruno.
To quote Usher, I think we should let it burn. D tier.
We've reached the end, finally our last deck.
Hopefully we'll reach the end of your term as president soon too, Joe.
Guys, stop bickering. What are your thoughts about Diva Hero?
Well, personally, I prefer to call the deck Absolute Zero instead of Diva Hero. But to answer your question, this is an easy A. Silchus Ruin topped with the deck multiple times at the start of the online era of Edison format, but then switched to Diva Zombies due to its consistency. Now, the best Diva Hero player is undeniably a true hero. He was invited to RBET Rulers 2 consecutive years in a row, placed 5th at Deck Devastators 3, 3rd at Gladiators of Edison, and came in top 8 at Peak Beak 3.
It truly takes a skilled pilot to efficiently play Diva Hero because so many hands are dead due to a lack of heroes, waters, or miracle fusions. Not to mention the possibility of drawing or opening with double malicious or spined Gilman.
Drawing into Gilman isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be, but it does make Diva less versatile. Diva Hero's true issue is dealing with cards like Royal Oppression. Anyway, I second Joe's opinion. Absolute Zero is A tier.
A tier it is. Are we finally done here? We said we would only tier 10 decks, but I see 13 on screen. Looks like you Democrats really don't know how to count. I see how you win elections.
Let's not open a can of worms. Any last words, Joe?
Yes, if you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Anyone who is watching without subscribing is worse than Sleepy Joe himself.
I've had enough babysitting for one day. I'm out.